Oh boy, what do we have here? The 7 day cross the 25 day. You know what that means.
It has begun!
Alright, guys, all the nonsense out of the way. That's right, it has begun. Bitcoin crossed 7 day, crossed the 25 day, and we have a bullish candle. As soon as that started, as soon as that cross happened, this day went bullish, and we picked up about $1,000 on the Bitcoin price so far. I'm hoping this stays strong. I really think it will. I think this is the start of the uptrend of the market. But today's video, starting with Bitcoin, but we're going to deep dive into IOTA. We're going to use that chart. I'm going to go over a couple of things in the chart that I look for, and some of the things that I mention, and some of the things that I talk about, and really go into exactly what I mean by them and why they're so important. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Alright guys, let's get the disclaimer out of the way first. I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Alright guys, we are looking at IOTA here. And again, Bitcoin has set everything off. IOTA has a large green candle for this day, starting off. And again, it's early in the day, but things have bought up pretty quickly. I don't know what time the days start for Binance and for the trading markets for crypto. I'm not sure how that works. It seems to me that the new day listing on Binance, or the new day candle, starts around 8 p.m. Eastern time for me. And that is the time where I was at work and I saw the cross, and I was just waiting for that green candle. I was on my phone at work. I'm probably going to, end up losing my job for checking trades so often, checking the market so often. I need to get off my phone so much at work. It annoys me when other people do it, and I gotta follow my own advice. Tangent alert. Getting off of that tangent. Getting back to IOTA and the market. So again, IOTA, big bull candle so far. One thing I want to talk about: buying into a new coin or new market, and setting your buys and timing your entries. Last night when I talked about this, I talked about KNC, talked about Zen, but I mentioned with IOTA and I mentioned with KNC where I would buy, where I would set my buys. Use limits. Do not buy at market price, unless the market price just happens to be at that moment at your limit. And then of course, go ahead and just buy it. If you're within 1% of your limit, go ahead and buy it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you what I believe was the best way to do it. So it was kind of sitting here in the middle. It had wicked down and was sitting around here, around 137, I believe, when I was making the video last night. I was sitting around 137. And I said, I'm going to buy it at 133. I think that's where it's going to, I think that's where the bottom is going to be on the 61%. Sorry, 134. So yeah, it was around 137 to 138 with a double check the video. Sorry, but I knew I wanted to buy here at 134, and I thought it would retest. If it didn't retest that day, it would retest the next day and retest that 61.8 line. And I set up another scenario where if it didn't, and it didn't retest that, and it stopped somewhere here in the middle, then my next buy position would be once it broke the 50% line consistently, which means a candle finished the body above that line, and now I'm in at that price at 144. Because looking at the extension, my profit point to take profit is going to be 199 to 217. That's my hopeful point to take profit. That's where I'm hoping that this is going to go. But looking at this on the daily chart, this won't be quick. As you can see, it took from the start to the peak. This is almost a month. Now, you could have taken profits. I mean, if you start here, you could have taken profits here. You could have taken profits here. Hopefully you made this peak, but more than likely you're probably starting here, or you're probably selling as it's going down here. Hopefully you didn't get too low, but generally, you know that on the Fibonacci on a daily chart is much more reliable than using it on the hour or 2 hour or even a 4 hour chart. And I think that is a mistake I was making early on getting started. And again, guys, I told you at the start of this series of videos that we're going to highlight my wins, my losses, my mistakes, so that they don't happen to you, or that so you don't necessarily have to make those same mistakes to learn from them. You can learn from my mistakes, and then you win more. So again, going on the daily, I mean, I wouldn't be upset about doing a 6 hour chart or an 8 hour chart, 8 hour candles, and using the Fibonacci. At that point, you got enough of the big picture. The problem happens is if you're on an hourly chart, and from this point to this point, looks like right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So on an hourly chart, 5 days, 24 times 5. You can do the quick swag math. That's 24 times 5. That's 144 hours. That's 144 candlesticks. This looks like a well-established downtrend. You would be doing a Fibonacci on a downtrend, looking for short positions, looking for places to buy near the bottom and then sell at a rally, and then you're looking to sell here. You're thinking that you finish up here, you're going to be looking to sell here because you're like, okay, that's the top of the rally. Look, oh wow, it sold down again, but it's still in an uptrend overall, and that's why you need to zoom out and see the big picture, because you'll end up selling way too early or buying in way too late, or vice versa. If you think you're in an uptrend and you're really in a downtrend, you get yourself in trouble because the next high will never be as high as the last one. I knew that this whole chart was an overall uptrend, so I knew that this high was going to be engulfed by the next high, which should be engulfed by the next high. If this isn't a downtrend, and I didn't zoom out far enough to see that, this high would be the highest that I'll see, then the low, and then the next high will be lower, then the next low will be lower, then the next high will be lower, and the next low will be lower, and that's how that works. That's why I think that Zen is in a trend reversal, because that has played out so far, and it's not set in stone yet, but it's played out so far that it's going to be the case. So, back to the original point. Limits are your friend. Set your limits. Don't buy in the middle of a zone, because there's nothing in the middle of these zones. There's nothing that the market has to respect. There's no support line or resistance line that the market has to respect. It's going to blow by that, either up or down. Either way, it's going to blow by that number, and you're going to buy, and you're going to be sitting there looking at yourself like, oh wow, I could have waited a half an hour and bought 100 shares at 5 cents less or 10 cents less, and put an extra 10% in my profit. It doesn't sound like much in relative terms of individual shares. If you buy 100 at a time, or 200 at a time, or 1,000 at a time, if you're buying this and you're throwing $1,000 on it, the difference between 140 and 133 buy-in point there's a good bit of difference there. So limits are your friend. Um, you know, making sure to learn how to see and respect the moving averages. You know, one of the easiest ways to determine an uptrend is that you are more often than not trading above the 7-day moving average. Of course, it goes below on the retrace, but it always pulls back above it. Gets a little bit below it, pulls back above it, gets way above it, and it only pulled below it for 1 day. Now, this large wick could have been broken up into 3 days if it was not an immediate sell-off. It would have been more like this one, where it sold below it a handful of days. But I do believe this is going to be a strong uptrend. And again, here, if you were to buy it right now, as I'm talking, at 12:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to be buying in right at the 50% retracement line right now at 144.5, and you are going to be either A, you buy in now and it goes up and you're golden and you have your profit, or it goes up and it comes down and goes up and comes down. If this closes above that 144 line, right now it's a risk, but you're still buying in at a level of support and resistance. You're buying at a level right now. If you were to buy it right now, you'd be, for lack of a better term, it might not be the best way to use this term right now, but you'd be breakout trading. You're buying the breakout that's going to break above this line, and you know this has been a resistance for 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times resisted, 5 times resisted, 6, 7 stayed above it, broke way above it and came back down below it. So this has been a resistance multiple times, and at this point, if it stays above it and builds up slower than what it did last time, it becomes a level of support. So you're buying at a support resistance line, which helps you with a narrower stop loss. Less likely to drop heavily below this or not to see it again, because it is a line of importance. So guys, I'm going to wrap this up because I feel like I'm starting to ramble, but I'm really bullish right now on IOTA. I'm bullish on the whole market. I think that Bitcoin's 7-day, 25-day crossing was huge. Everything almost immediately turned green, which isn't hard when it was so far down previously, but it's a good sign. The streets are not running red right now. Things are good. And one of the lines that I've heard that I think is ultra important when it comes to trading, be it crypto or be it regular stocks, when there's blood on the streets, you buy even if it's your blood. When everything's selling down, when everything's going down, you buy. That is one of the best lines of advice I've ever heard. I'm pretty sure it was Warren Buffett, but I'm not 100% sure to be able to quote that. But alright guys, that's my video for today. Thanks for checking in. Please like, subscribe if you liked it. If you didn't like it, hell with it, thumbs down. Write me a comment as to why you think I'm garbage. But that's what I got for today, guys. Till next time, peace.